Intuition isn't a rare gift reserved for psychics and mediums? What if it's a natural ability that every one of us possesses? In this episode, I'm joined by spiritual mentor, medium, regression practitioner, and host of the Quantum Crumbs podcast, Suzanne Wing. Together, we explore how quieting the mind, opening the heart, and trusting our inner knowing can unlock profound spiritual connections, deepen intuition, and help us remember who we truly are. Welcome to Dial Up Intuition, a podcast that invites you to awaken and expand your intuition. I'm your host, Kat Sanders. I was a radio and television broadcaster before a massive brain hemorrhage caused me to flatline. That life-changing event led to a beautiful near-death experience. And when I came back, I returned with some profound truths and the ability to connect with the other side. In this podcast, we'll explore these truths and learn how to strengthen your intuition and intuitive gifts. You'll hear conversations with remarkable intuitives who'll share how their gifts came alive, evolved, and became part of their daily lives. So whether you're just beginning your intuitive journey or you're ready to go deeper, this is your space to be inspired, guided, and reminded that your intuitive gift was always within you. So let's begin and dial up our intuition together. Today, I have Suzanne Wing. She is a spiritual mentor, medium, and regression practitioner who helps people reconnect with their own inner wisdom and the guidance that's always been available to them. Through mediumship, past life regression, energy work, and intuitive development, she creates grounded, transformative experiences that help people release old patterns, trust themselves, and remember who they truly are. Suzanne believes intuition isn't a rare gift reserved for a few. It's a natural ability we all have when we learn to quiet the noise and listen. She is the host of Quantum Crumbs podcast, where she shares stories of her journey exploring multidimensional experiences. So she sounds a lot like me, which sounds like a real good match. I'm so glad to have you here today, Suzanne.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we do seem like a perfect match, don't we?
We do. We ought to be good friends. I think maybe that'll have to happen. And we've been chatting for a little while, so I got an opportunity to get to know you a little bit and meet your animals, which was also fun. So, but let me start by asking you, when did you first discover your intuitive gifts?
Well, my story's a little interesting because as a child, I had memories of past lives, and I, like you'll hear people say, "Oh, I could see angels or spirits." I couldn't see any of that. I had had these memories, and I thought I would, explain that story to the people around me, and I quickly realized that they had no idea what I was talking about, and they were like, "She's so creative." And then I realized that even like our minister in church would say, "You have this one life." And I remember thinking, doesn't he know that's not true? Like he has to know that's not true. And that kind of turned on the discernment piece of not believing everything that someone tells you. And there would be moments in my childhood where I would have spirit communication, or I would have different little things, but they were very natural. It wasn't something I tried to do or focused on. It was just very natural communications. When I would think of a loved one, I could feel them converse with me. And I felt like that was just a natural way that people communicated with people that passed over. And I actually still think that is a natural. And I still think that when people are thinking of their loved ones and they are having those conversations and speaking to them, I think that we all do it. It's just some people realize that it is a two-way conversation more than others, I think, is how we get mediums and psychics. And
I agree. I think, we feel it. Maybe we see a hummingbird and we think of our grandmother, whatever it is. And some of us say, I think she's sending me a message. And others say, well, that's ridiculous. So
I think if you feel it here, that's when it's true. And the message is for you. It's not for other people.
You're right. And it really is. I mean, you kind of hit it on the head. If you think of it in your brain, that's one thing. If you think of it in your heart, that's really confirmation, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it is. So when did you first start maybe giving readings to other people?
Well, I would say I got my first Oracle deck, Angel card deck, Tarot card deck probably in the early 90s. And, just the process of learning how to work with those cards, and you choose the cards, and, you're always blown away at how accurate the readings are, even if you're just doing readings for yourself. And then you start doing it with friends, and it just becomes this natural way to develop your intuition. And, I had different meditation teachers that taught us how to, like, focus in on our energy centers and feel through those different places in our bodies. To all of that turned up the intuitive, uh, the sensitivities to all of those things around you. It's just like fine tuning little things and being perceptive and being open to the fact that you can tap in and tune in. And, I'll even say something. I think I went, this would have been somewhere in the late 90s. No, I'm sorry, late 80s. I went to like a seminar. I don't know if it was a seminar, there was a motivational speaker, and they were just talking about sales techniques and how to read people's body language and how to read people in general. And like the quiet person is usually the decision maker, but the one that's talking is the person that you sell to, knowing that the decision maker is witnessing all of this. And then they also taught us things of like how to project an interview the way we want it to go. And so I would practice those things. I would practice before job interviews. I would practice like the questions I wanted them to ask me, or I would project the things I would want them to say. And it would blow me away of how many times that would actually work.
That's interesting. So, if you were to talk to someone who wanted to learn to, say, connect in to the greater consciousness and start to find their own gifts, maybe they want to become a medium or a healer or a psychic, whatever, what would you say would be the best way to start practicing?
Okay, this is not in my bio, but the thing that turned it on the strongest for me was the Akashic Records. So
Oh,
there's just, if you just go on the internet and Google Akashic Record prayer, there's many. And just pick one that you like. And you just basically are asking permission to access the records of your soul. And then you have a guide that is governing the records of your soul. And I started practicing that. And it literally started with my guide would give me a letter, like the letter A, and I would write it down. And then they'd give me the next letter, and I would write that down. And then I'd have a word. And then I would ask, okay, can you speed this up and give me a whole word? And so then they would just give me one word at a time. And then, can you give me a paragraph? And then they would give me a paragraph. And as I would write the paragraph, I would paraphrase it. And they would stop and they'd go back to the letter A. And I thought, what? And they said, exactly what we tell you, because the message that we give you is going to be for the person in front of you, not for you. So if you're doing a reading with a client, it's not for you to interpret what's being given to you. It's for you to deliver exactly what you're being told. So the client, it, the symbols that they're giving me will have a different meaning than the symbols for my client. So if I'm doing a reading for a client, I have to deliver exactly what they tell me, like word for word, image by image, phrase by phrase. And so many times during an Akashic record reading, I will think this is not making any sense. But then I'll look up and the person in front of me is just sobbing, crying. So it's obviously has a lot of meaning for them. So I would say the Akashic Records is a great way to practice because if you're patient and you can be still with it and just feel the difference in the energy at first and just be okay with sitting in the energy. And then the next time, make a connection with your guide in there. But you can meet your loved ones in there. You can get messages. You can meet your spirit guides in the Akashic realm. You can get healing instructions. It's a beautiful, beautiful space.
Interesting, very interesting. Okay. And I understand you deliver the message you're given. You don't try to, again, use your mind. You've got to just use your heart and deliver. I know I did a mediumship reading where a young woman's father came through, and he showed me two images. One was a casserole dish and the other was a hot dog. And I thought, I have no idea what this is about.
I have to say it.
But I went ahead and said it. I felt a little foolish, but I went ahead and said it because that's what I saw. And she just started bawling. And
Yeah.
she said, "That's my daddy." She said, "I was 8 years old, and all I knew how to make for him was a hot dog casserole. And it became our special thing, our special bond.
Oh.
And he died when I was 9, but we'll always remember the hot dog casserole." I thought, okay, that was the message. That
And
was his
that is the
evidence.
confirmation. That's all she needs to know, that he is there connecting with her through you. And that's those
Right.
little things, those are the things that really,
That really matter. And that she knew that her daddy was there connecting with her because he remembered the hot dog casserole that meant so much. And yeah, you can't use your mind. You can't say, well, I'm not going to say that. That's just stupid. You have to deliver it. But the Akashic records are really fascinating,
very
and
fascinating.
a good way to get started. And then, like you said, work with your spirit guides. Very interesting. Now, you also do past life regressions. What have you learned from doing these past life regressions about our souls and why we come back?
Well, I've one of the things that's been made clear to me is that, you know, we have been learning through all of these different experiences and different incarnations. And when we have a life and we're working on whatever thing, resilience, or we're working on independence, or we're working on community, or whatever the theme is that we're working on, if it's not mastered in one lifetime, then you'll bring that theme to the next, another lifetime. Maybe you might add to it, like you want to master this concept and add this new concept. So we're always learning and growing through all of these things. And a lot of times we do that through our challenges. But one of the things that keeps coming through in the sessions is that we're moving towards, instead of learning through karma or suffering, that we're going to be learning through a more loving way. And that the pressure is really on for everyone to complete their karma now, to reach the ultimate state. Like when you, by the time you're ready to pass, like be in a state of neutrality with everything, like be at peace with everyone that's ever harmed you, or whatever traumas that you've been through. Like work on your healing and get it done now, because in the next incarnation, you're not going to be getting you're not going to be, making things even in another way. You're going to be learning through love, and it's easier to do that from a state of coming in from a neutral point versus having to
Yeah,
do
that's
things that make you
fascinating.
decide.
Yeah, I love that. If you look at the history of our Earth, you see that we started out pretty barbaric, and it's kind of the way we as humans evolved. And we have become more civilized. Well, that's depending on the person. But as a human, we've become more civilized, most of us. You and I have. And we've become more loving and compassionate, I think. And so it makes sense that as we go into the awakening, as we evolve more, we are going to continue to be more loving. And so, yes, we need to do this. And, one of the things I learned in my near death experience was forgiveness. And when I went to that other side, I saw that forgiveness is complete. And I understood that I needed to forgive here in this life. And sometimes that's hard. I mean, I've had some things happen to me that were, in most people's minds, absolutely unforgivable. Um,
Which I think is why they've given me the word neutrality.
well, I've been practicing that forgiveness, and what you learn is that forgiveness is not necessarily for the benefit of the person you're forgiving. It's for your benefit,
Yeah.
and it is the loving thing to do. And I've just become such a better person, I think. Not that I'm all that, but in my own heart, I have really evolved myself, or I feel so much more loving, and I'm happier. I'm so much happier by forgiving and moving on from those things that used to drive me crazy.
And giving grace for being angry, because that's a very natural response to, the atrocities that are going on and that have gone on. And it's okay to express anger, and it's okay to be angry. It's okay to give yourself grace for letting that flow through you, because anger is one of those emotions that's a catalyst, that it creates movement. If you don't allow anger to come through, then you're going to be stuck in grief and despair. So it's almost like, if you need to get angry to get out of grief and despair, then stop into that, and then give yourself some grace, because you're going to have to move through all that to get through the more neutral state, the more compassionate, loving space. And I think if the pressure of remaining in a constant state of being empathetic and loving and joyful is a lot of pressure for people who've been through a lot. And so that's why I think they've given me that word neutrality.
Yes.
Because it's just easier to think of. But they're like, once you reach that state, your neutral state, then it's a little bit easier to go a little bit higher. And then that's your new baseline. And then your new baseline and your new
Yeah.
baseline.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had some things.
And as you
When
know, with
I
regression work, it's all about holding space for people working through their trauma, and it's deep, deep work.
So, do you have any stories of maybe a mediumship reading or maybe a past life regression you choose? And I know I'm putting you on the spot here,
I
but
have so many. What
I
piece
know,
of
and I'm doing
story you
this
want
to
to hear?
you. But I'll give you a moment to think, and if you can't think of
Oh, I
one,
have
I
so
get
many.
it.
Like what topics do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about past lives on other planets as other beings? Synchronicities of, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to let you pick. Pick your favorite story of a reading or a past life regression you've done that stands out in your mind as being maybe one of your favorite, that
Well,
maybe surprised you or that tells a good story.
okay, I'll tell you this one.
Okay.
And this isn't about aliens or anything. This is just
Okay.
about a beautiful life. And ah, gosh, it was a beautiful life. So I had a client, and she had a great husband, a great marriage, but she's like, I just don't feel like I can fully love him. And that was something we talked about in the beginning part. It wasn't the main reason for the session. She goes, I feel like I'm holding back. And there were some other things that were more important for the session that did we did it did show up in the session. But because sometimes you have multiple lives that you go through in a session, but the last life that she was shown, she was in Paris, and she was, I don't know if it was from a family of wealth, but she met all of these artists and all these interesting people. And she had like a gallery, a space where she had all of these artist friends, and she had all these different shows. And she's had all these amazing musicians and artists in her life. And through all of these beautiful parties and gatherings and things that they did together, she met this amazing man that was, her love of her life, and they were engaged to be married, and there was a car accident, and the man was in the hospital, and she was at his deathbed, and as he was dying, she basically vowed that she would never love another man the way she loved him.
Oh,
And when she said that, I thought, oh my gosh, she's carrying that vow into this life, and that's what's holding her back from her husband. So I had her ask his soul, you know, like how does he feel about that commitment? Like, doesn't he want you to be able to fully love? And so there was his soul that was communicating with her, asking her to, to
to release it, right?
yes, that they will always have that love and that will be present in this beautiful explanation. And then when it was her time that she died, she was in this room, and the bed was brought into the living room, and she was on her deathbed, and there were all these people eating and drinking and playing music all around her, just having an amazing party. And that's how she passed away, just in this space of pure celebration. And I just thought, God, what a beautiful life to be surrounded by such an amazing community, and that they just were full of people that were constantly celebrating life in every way. And anyway, it was just such it was just the whole past life. It was just such a full life.
That's
Anyway,
beautiful.
that was just a beautiful one.
Yeah, that's nice. Do you find, because I do past life regressions as well, and I get so many people that come to me that believe that they were some king or queen or, some real special something, but most people just had very ordinary lives, with good lessons and important things that they needed to see. But I
And
just
when they
find
are
it's
someone important, the message is never about being important.
exactly.
The message is about a relationship with their child, and
Yes,
maybe how they regretted not being able to, you know,
yes.
be there for
It's
their child. Like, it's always something so unrelated to being important.
right. We think so worldly, don't we? And and yet in the spiritual world, it is just so not about the jewels on your crown. It's so about the relationships, the love that we have for one another. And it's just very interesting because yeah, it really is all about love and who we love and how much we love and how we treat each other.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. So when you do a mediumship reading, do you need to take time to connect in, or is it a natural thing that's just already there for you?
Um, I I'm probably, when it comes to spiritual hygiene, I'm probably one of the more forgetful people. So my spirit team has given me like two guards. So they do the spiritual hygiene for me. And when I intend to do a mediumship reading, I have like a little row of chairs. So if there's multiple spirits that want to come through, I ask them to arrange themselves in order in the chair so I don't get mixed communication of somebody chiming in while one spirit is communicating. They can chime in after each one has had a time, after I've made a connection, then I know who's who and what they have to say. And I let them, they give me, I do like evidential mediumship, so that I have them give me no information ahead of time, not a relationship or who they want to connect with. And then whoever comes through, I describe them, their personality, what they are like, if they have a initial message. And then once we have established who the soul is, then they can ask questions and I'll answer the questions, or be the scribe.
Right.
I'll be the scribe and scribe whatever messages come through, what questions they have. And then, it takes, I would say the readings are about 15 minutes. before the window starts closing. For some reason, that seems to be about the time. But yeah.
Yeah, they can only bring their vibrations down to be able to communicate for a period of time. I understand.
Hmm.
And you just share the hot dog and casserole dish, whatever it is that they...
Yeah, it's just important that they get that initial, like that validation that they really need, or the little piece of communication that just lets them know that they're being supported, that they are supported. And I do
Yeah,
get reminded from spirits that they can also help us, just like our spirit team, our spirit guides can help us. They can help us on the other side also.
right,
That we need to ask them for stuff too, like especially if it's more human things.
right, right. So, and do you find that some souls on the other side can be very descriptive? They can show you, I call them mind movies, things that are very
Um,
clear, and others struggle to get any communication across?
yes, some spirits love communicating through mediums, and they have a lot to say. They're very animated, their personalities come through very strong. And if someone's very quiet and shy, and when they were on Earth, they're probably going to be quiet and shy on the other side. I have one grandmother that loves to come through, and she has a great time with it. And then I have another grandmother that's very polite. And if everyone else has said their piece and there's time, she'll peek in and say a little something, and then step back out. But she
Yeah.
was also the kind of person that said, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. So,
Yep.
and that's how she is on the spirit side as well. So I kind of find, if you have a loud, obnoxious uncle and a quiet cousin, the uncle is going to talk first.
Yes, I've definitely seen that. There's always that aunt or uncle that, yeah, was bigger than life while they were on Earth, and they're bigger than life on the other
Once
side.
I do find once I make a connection with the soul, because that the next time I have a reading with that person, it's much easier to connect with that soul. Like even if I don't remember the person, when the soul comes in, I'm like, oh, now I know, I remember you.
Yes,
Yeah. Do
there
you
you
find
are.
that as well?
Yes, absolutely. They pop right in. Hey, it's me. I'm back.
Yeah. Like we now know each other. Like I now know your loved one because we've met.
Yep, there's Aunt Elsie.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
have
then
an Aunt Elsie that comes in regularly for a client of mine.
they always will have something new to say too.
Yeah, yeah, I can feel them coming in. Yeah, that's great.
Means that they're still looking over us. They're still participating in our family gatherings and our, all of those things. Like they're still part of all of those things. So I think if we honor our loved ones at Christmas or holidays or whatever you celebrate, that is, I think they appreciate that.
I know that they do. Yeah, they're definitely around us a lot. So that's wonderful. So I have one last question before we run out of time, and that is, of all these experiences you've had connecting with the other side and all of that, if you had one wise little tip that you could share with the entire world from all the things that you've learned, what would that be?
I think the number one thing I would tell people is that there's a lot of people they've been taught to be afraid of it. And I just want to say the reason that you were taught to be afraid of it is because you were taught to dumb down your power. And that's the only reason that you were taught to be afraid of it. Because being afraid is the only thing that will give negative spirits access to you. When you move forward with love and positive intentions, and your intention is to connect with someone that you love or to spread love or healing or anything positive, that's the only thing that you can attract to you. So if you have any fear, you need to get in touch with the reality of why you have that fear, who put it there, and why they put it there, and realize that it's just not true. It's
Yeah,
just not true. And that's how you can remember your power. That's how you can remember that. I mean, everyone has the ability to do this. Like we're not, no one's special. Like maybe some people are naturally attuned to it because they're more sensitive in certain ways. But every single person can send your thought and your consciousness to your loved ones and receive a little something back.
You're absolutely right. And if you think about the people on Earth, people here that want to tell you that this doesn't exist, that this isn't real and this can't happen, the ones that try and put fear-based mindset out there in the world, you think about it, they all kind of have an agenda now, don't they? They want to keep this from you because they don't want you connecting. Okay, so who is it? Well, they don't want you to heal yourself, so they want to keep your mindset that science is the only way. Okay, so who are they? Well, they're the scientists, the people that don't want you to think, connect in so that you can see through their lies are the liars of the world. We won't talk about politics. So, the people that want to believe that the only people that can teach you the truth are maybe our educational system. And I don't want to be criticizing all of this, but really the people that are based in the world, that are so based in only the world and don't want you to understand what really is happening, are going to absolutely tell you that it's not true, and they're not going to be open-minded to it. So understand who's telling you these things and that there's an agenda behind it. The news media, they're not going to, you got to listen to them. You can't listen to anything else. So again, it may not be that this is some evil plot. It's just that they have their mindset and they want to keep you in the world. They don't want you to understand that there's so much more out there, that you have the power to control a lot of what's going on, that you have the power to be able to look at someone and go, you know what? I see their deceitfulness in what they're doing. I see the lie. I'm getting a message that says what they're telling me isn't the truth. They
Yeah.
don't want you to have that gift.
Yes, because I asked in the Akashic Records, I said, I have these people in front of me that say they're blocked or they can't do this or they can't do that. And then I said, what's the fastest way to help them? And they said, just have them ask, is it true?
Yes.
I think that I'm blocked here. Is it true? Are you? Like you can feel in your body like where your truth is and where the no's are. And if it's an expansion, it's yes. If it's contraction, it's no. And if you just run up against something and you just ask, but is it true? But is it true? Like it's such a simple thing. And then if you look at it, outside of somebody else's flow chart and look at the actual
Yeah.
landscape of it.
Yeah. That's exactly how I vote. I get out the ballot, the sample ballot, and I go, okay, I meditate first, and then I go, okay, is this judge somebody I should? I mean, I go all the way down to the school board members and
Oh,
whatever.
that's
Is
great.
this person I should vote for?
Oh, you're
And
ahead of
I
me. I still read the pamphlet, but yeah, that's better because
I let my spirit guides tell me, and I've got a yes no system. I use my hands where no is my left palm, yes is my right, and they give me a tingly warm feeling in my palm, and they tell me yes, you vote for that person, no, don't. And I vote for all my candidates.
oh my God, that's brilliant. See, that is the kind of intelligence. And I will say, if I reflect on the past life question, the coolest thing about the past lives on I would say other planets or systems is that they communicate telepathically. So there's no lying because if one being has information and comes up to another being, whatever information this being doesn't have automatically gets transferred. Same to this. So there is no deceit, there's no deception, there's no lying, and all truths are being passed automatically through telepathy at all times. And so,
Yeah. It's just, you got to start learning to work in this world through your heart and not
Yeah.
your head. And it's so nice to have somebody like you on to talk to, because you get it. You understand, because that's how you work too. And it's nice. That's nice. So I know we're pretty much out of time, but I do want to know, because I'm sure there's a lot of my listeners out there that are going, "Hey, I like what she has to say. I want to connect in more." So where can my listeners find out more about you, and how can they reach you?
Well, my website is suzannewing.com, just SUZANNEWING.com. And from there, you can book a session. You can find my socials, and Instagram is I am Suzanne Wing, and Quantum Crumbs is my podcast, but I only have one episode out right now. I'm working on my other stories, but
But you'll
yeah,
get there.
yeah, it'll happen.
It'll happen. Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll definitely happen. So I'll be interested in listening to it as well. So, okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's nice to have somebody that does what
Oh,
I do and gets it. And I learned some stuff too, because I'm not all that familiar with the Akashic Records, and I'm going to find out
oh,
more.
you'll have fun with it.
I'm sure that I will. So I'll be looking more into that. And I've really enjoyed talking to you, getting to know you, and learning more from you. And I know my listeners have too. So again, thank you for coming on, sharing with us. And for my listeners, thank you so much for tuning in again to Dial Up Intuition.